What's up, guys? How's it going, dude? Hope everybody's having a good time. Move some of this stuff around here. Just getting myself organized before we start the stream proper. I did update my map crap submission. That was something. It's open in another program. What? What program? Huh? Oh, it's probably SAM draft that didn't close properly. What is Hydra? Good one. What do you know? Close those out. What? Hey again, mans. Dude, what's going on, man? Now it's probably audition. I can't win, dude. There we go. Audition and SEM draft were both phantom processing that fucking folder, stopping me from doing anything with it. It's pretty next level. Check out all my temp files from SEM draft being a piece of shit. Let's remove this into here. What is it all? It's just a bunch of random stuff. This I can put in my materials section. Todd's house is supposed to be down here, dude. What's going on? There we go. I don't know why my desktop started moving around. Let me go ahead and close off this. Let's pop this open. Take a look at where we're at. Get the script open. Before I started my Arcane stream earlier today, I was working on the regions. I got the regions hooked up for Sienna, and I wrote a little bit of the attacks. So now all we need to do to finish Sienna is actually just write their attack thread, and I think they're done at that point. Maybe their defense thread? I don't remember. No, I think I did their defense thread. I did, okay. So I'll probably redo the Scarlet defense thread, because I don't think it's really anything special. Maybe do a defense thread for Orange. But we should be able to start on the Protoss today. Maybe we even finish them. They don't have nearly as many structures that they're going to build, most likely. So their base layout should at least take less time, and their guards should take not that much time either. This is probably going to be an area town or something. Well, not technically an area town. So, Imperator, I know you've been working on various Warcraft 3 projects while also replaying Warcraft 1. Are there any lessons you feel that you've learned from such an old title as Warcraft 1? Or do you feel like it was mostly just a waste of time? Just doing it for the sake of completion. Yeah, that's probably all I need to worry about for them. I'm glad it's over, let's put it that way. Well said. So there's nothing really that you feel like you can incorporate into a modern design mindset. Well, as I understand, the races are very, very similar besides the summons. I think the summons are the only difference. Oh, casters are completely different. Okay. Huh. Oh, cops are out. Who let him out of that pen? I want a name. Wow, that's that sure is something else. Ah, it's an APM tester, as well as a patience tester. What AI are we on right now, anyway? Terran Harvest Town. I think the next one is an air attack town or something. I always forget to not copy over the sound. The next one's air. Yeah, I never really understood why they removed those. I think they removed them in StarCraft 2 as well. I was trying to use them earlier. Really? Are they a different hotkey? Isn't it Shift F2, Shift F3, Shift F4? I swear I tried it earlier. Maybe I'm thinking of Warcraft 3 though. Oh, okay. Well, good to know that they actually exist. So I think this one goes up to 6, right? Second expansion is... Oh, they have 7, okay. So it'll be 8 for this one. So this will go 8, 9, and 10. It's real nice to know that I'm nearing the end here of base layouting for this particular mission. If only there were a simpler way to do it. Oh yeah, that's what you've been working on these days. How's that coming along? Is there a particular reason why it's slow? Is it like something that requires a lot of attention to detail? Ah. Let's see. Are you busy outside of working on that? When I get swamped with stuff, it's kind of difficult for me sometimes to remain focused. Did I say I'll do a review for Arcane? Yeah, I will. I'll probably just talk about, I'll try to remain mostly constructive as opposed to talking at length about the problems I see within the production, because unfortunately those are just sort of like, what are you gonna do? See what I can come up with as far as potential solutions go. So what are we looking at here? Oh, there's a second ship battery. Don't know how I managed to miss that one. For the arcane review, if you have any specific ideas or topics you'd like to be discussed, feel free to ask. See how I can work them in. If it's not very useful for creators, then it's not going to be very... Well, there isn't much of a point for me doing it, really. What a soundtrack, dude. That is a good gateway spot, but... Yeah, his training is unfinished, really. I'll put you on screen for a sec so you can see what you've sent. I don't know if anything was missing. Sometimes YouTube throttles people if they send too many messages in a row or whatever. Unfortunately, I don't think I can fix that. Even people who are mods get fucking throttled, which is really silly. This should be probably weight build 1 gateway. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. That's weird. I guess I could imagine YouTube throttling people in without, like, actually... I don't know. That just seems really psychotic. Whatever's going on there. This is like data entry. It's crazy. remember what the cycle was. There should be a defense rand command that I can use a random number, just like attack rand. I'll have to ask Iceware about that. I think I got all of the guards yet. Wait, 120? That's 10 seconds. Or, sorry, 5 seconds. So not much. Pretty minuscule. It's just so that if the player happened to have vision of the area, I mean, it's really not really that important. You could just axe it. There's like a built-in delay, I think, of up to 30 seconds before the AI realizes it has a structure. Or maybe I'm thinking 30 frames. But 30 something, maybe. But if, say, they build this robotics facility and the player has vision of them building it, they won't see the robotics support bay immediately go up once the robotics facility goes down. Sort of like to emulate the delay of a player realizing that they have the ability to continue teching up. It's very minuscule. It's probably something I could just remove without it affecting things 9 times out of 10. But a frame is 24 seconds, or 24 frames is 1 second, excuse me. So 120 is half of 240. 240 would be 10. So. Yeah, it's mostly just there for the rare chance that the player would have active vision. And it's also just like a basic practice I have for writing allied AI, because then they do have active vision of those allied AI. They would always see them. So I wouldn't want to, like... I don't know, even though it's obvious that the AI is an AI and not a player, it still feels kind of weird to me to see shit like the AI just robotically accepting commands with no delay. Adding a little bit of a delay makes it feel a little bit more alive for some reason. It's ultimately very, very minor and stuff that most people probably don't even think about. But I design for myself more than I design for other people, generally speaking, so... There you go, man. That's another thing that, though, that I guess it's probably linked to my desire to make AI that feel more than just quote-unquote AI, like quote-unquote just AI. Like, there's, it's hard to put into words exactly, but, like, I don't want to be put into a position where... Man, the map's decoration is so fucked right now. I don't want to be put into a position where playing against the AI feels like you're playing against not even an AI enemy, but like something that doesn't even feel active. You know what I mean? Like the fact that this AI actually takes map control, expands, seems to do things that would correlate with it increasing its likelihood of defeating you, right? It's not just like the AI sits in its base, gets its wave spawned in for it, and throws those units at your main, like in Legends of Arcane or StarCraft 2. You know? Like, Legends of Arcane's obviously a good example here because we just played it, so we know. It's like very instant. But I also just replayed Legacy of the Void, and it's very much like that, where you don't feel like your opponents are real. You don't feel like your opponents are actually trying to beat you. They're just sort of existing. They exist on the map to be attacked and to be defended against. Well, the specifying guard and base layout locations was not... You could still tell the AI to build in certain areas. It became a lot easier with a recent command. You could still... Yeah, like, in Hydra's Rebel Yell, the current released version is for 120. It's not for 161. And base layout is a 161 only location, or command, rather. So... I obviously wasn't able to use base layout in that, but I was still able to tell the AI to go to a certain location, usually a resource area or somewhere near a resource area, and say, hey, take this area, build some stuff, and, you know, try to occupy that area. But a lot of it was made easier, although it wasn't impossible before. It was just a little bit more arduous, like more code writing or whatever. It was made easier by a recent command that came out during the time that or around the time that map was in development. Yeah, well, with the load bunkers command that we have now, it is actually possible for me to get an AI that tries to bunker contain you. And proxy you and stuff. I will probably end up having that at some point in the Rebel Yell update. It's hard for you to tell the AI to bunker rush Zerg player because of their creep. It's still possible, it's just a little difficult. The AI is still subject to like abuse cases in general. This is one of the cases where if I was trying to bunker rush somebody, I would definitely want iCore to do that random modifier for base layout, which allows you to... So basically, like if you look at the code for base layout, you see that there's this number, this double-digit number over here, that's priority. And so for the random would be like, instead of set, you would see set random. And then if I had multiple cybernetics cores with priority 80, then if they all had set random and priority 80, then those locations would be randomized when the AI gets a command to build a cybernetics core. So if they only build one cyber core, but you have 3 possible locations, they would build they would have a random chance to build from in each one. It's like that's sort of the idea behind that. So to make it so that it was harder for the player to sort of game the system by knowing exactly where the AI builds its bunkers in the bunker rush, I would make it so that there's like 5 locations for one of the bunkers or whatever, and that would be a way to do it. But that's more of a minor note. They would have to bring in their guards, their infantry that would like hop into the bunkers immediately. I think it would be pretty funny. It'd be a pretty good bit. Rip. I was just talking about the bunker rush strat and how I would randomize the bunker locations so that the player couldn't figure out exactly where the bunker is always in every map, every instance, and block it that way to cheese the AI. Not that they would really realistically be able to anyways, because the AI would have escorts and stuff. That's the long and short of it. I mentioned a recent breakthrough. I wonder what I was talking about. What's going on, Raw Flesh? Meathead? Welcome back. Why now? Because there was interest in it. Back in 2017, I was working on Inconsummate, and I was asking... I was like basically just pouring it out anywhere I could when the first 3 maps were done, and it was like still in progress. And one of the things I said, that was like the first campaign that I did any custom AI work with. And so that was one of the things that was the talking points. And so when I was linking it in all of these various servers, one of the servers happened to have Necron in it. And he said, oh, you have custom AI? I'm working on AI too. And then that's how we started getting talking. So we talked about like custom AI, we talked about all this stuff. And we did a lot of research on AI. He had already started researching stuff. I got him in contact with Heinerman, or somebody, somehow, somewhere, we got Heinerman involved. I think he already knew about him, because he was on the Brood War AI forums and stuff. Basically, long story short is, by talking with Necron about Inconsummate, we ended up researching a lot of AI-related elements. We got Knave interested, because I was already working with Knave, and Necron was aware of Knave from Knave's earlier work as well. And we talked with him about a lot of the AI issues. Knave started researching reverse engineering stuff, and then that's how the AI script extender plugin was born back in 2017, where it was just called AI's Attack 2, because all it did was let us specify coordinates for the prep region and target region. That led to a whole host of commands that we now use, that I now use like every time I work on AI, basically. Like base layout and so on and so forth, with iQuare coming in to develop a lot of commands as well. And so, yeah, that's the history of AI work. But it was really just because I was working on Inconsummate and I started talking with Necron on one of the many Discord servers I was on. It was a fascinating etymology of the AI script extender plugin. Well, I guess there was really not very much interest. I mean, it seems like there was a status quo for having macro missions in StarCraft where you were just running like campaign insane AI and stuff. There were people who did work with AI, like Escatumesk worked with AI on Armageddon Onslaught. Razorclaw X did modify some AI in Zeddy Total Conversion. But most of the AI attempts that were made were just to like modify existing scripts. Mesk and some Melee guys who were interested in making like Melee AI were some notable exceptions where they made AI completely from scratch. But they didn't have any custom commands, they didn't have any hooks for anything like that. They didn't bother reverse engineering any of that stuff. It was either out of their skill sets or not something that interested them. And so most of the interest with custom AI was through C++ with a Brood War API tool that allowed you to write AI that had its own tactical responses. It would like be able to vulture micro and stuff like that, which obviously is pretty interesting and potentially useful even in a campaign section, but it was limited very heavily by the fact that it was C++ and it was incompatible with a lot of other things like GPTP and other plugins that you would need for non-AI related functions like custom spell effects or whatever. And so, because modding StarCraft is such a fucking mess, you basically have to be put into a position where you're making exceptions no matter what you're using. Like, by using GPTP and some features of the AI script extender plugin, I'm stopping myself from being able to use the unit expander, because right now the only unit expander we have that's worth anything is really, really unstable and does not handle other plugins very well at all. And so, like, stuff like that, you always have to make exceptions until somebody comes around and actually makes something that's compatible with other things. And right now, the closest thing we have to that is something that still invalidates a lot of other work. The same is true for the unit dat limiter, or data unlimiter, I guess, that Farty was working on some time ago. But yeah, it is strange to me that nobody ever really bothered with making custom AI stuff for 20 years. I guess the reason why is probably because of Brood War API and people making C++ stuff for Melee. There wasn't really a whole lot of push to make custom content with campaigns and stuff related to it, but what can you do? I'm gonna go get some water. I will return momentarily. All right. So, where are we at? Cool. What did you think? It's a very old campaign. Not a whole lot going on there. I'm gonna move on to a different mix. I'm not digging this one quite so much. Would it take you too long to make one of these for map prep? What do you mean, like a Hydra mission, you mean? Alright, thanks. Oh, selected on file. Yeah, it just kills itself all the time, man. I don't know what's going on with that. First mission is really cool, but one of the problems is that the Zerg on the last base spawn broodlings on my forces. Zerg in the last base. Oh, you mean... Yeah, I don't know what AI they're running in that mission. I think it's just a basic one. I guess I could open it up and see. Oh, they have spawns. That's pretty cool. Z Colony Main. Should be on with here. AI. It's just Zerg campaign medium. It doesn't even have resources. Oh, no. Don't show me that. I can't look. It wouldn't take me much to make more advanced AI. I mean, like, the issue is... It's not just that you have to make this advanced AI, it's that when you have more overhead, you also have more stuff that you have to test to make sure it's working properly. Like, for example, I have all these guards and stuff, right? I have all these pre-placed locations. For all I know, the AI could, like, idle a guard unit in the middle of the base layout location, and then that could just make the AI fucking sit there and say, well, I can't build this structure here because there's a guard walking through it at the right time. And that could just destabilize the whole thing, because there's nothing like, you know how in Warcraft 3 you order a building and it makes other units like move out of the building area if they're owned by you? Well, in StarCraft there's nothing like that. And so if the AI can't build it there because there's a unit walking through the area, they'll say, hey, I can't build in the base layout section. Let me build it somewhere else I can build, which could be in the middle of another base layout location, which could then result in everything being fucked. And so until we have some other commands that iCray's in the middle of working on, nothing is going to be perfectly stable in areas where you're building up a base from scratch and also moving units through the area. What we really need is something similar to the Warcraft 3 thing, where it orders units to exit the base layout section, but do so in a relatively intelligent way, which there's really no way to do it. There's like a good basic scenario you can do it, hopefully. So for Mapcrap, it wouldn't necessarily be the issue of writing the AI in the right amount of time. There is that, because some of it does take a long time to do. But another issue would be actually testing it out. Like, usually my maps are either too difficult or too easy. Like, they're unbalanced in some way, because I haven't actually had time to test balance, so I just design it to what I think would be reasonable. Like that Amon mission, for example, which is pretty difficult in its current state. Yeah, it's medium AI in that mission, with no money, so all of the units that it sends at you are from spawns. It's very, very ancient, like, primordial mission design, man. Like, it really is 2011. Man, that was a year after Wings of Liberty, that's crazy. Another thing that I'm generally... if I have, like, a hard time being clairvoyant about is resources and like resource quantities. And for example, you have like all of the resources in the starting bases and the expansions. Like, for all I know, they could be way lower than they actually need to be. It could be that I need to make them way higher, or they could be too high, and it could make the mission easier than intended. So that's something that you really need to stress test the balance of. Generally, for like the first mission, I'm okay with it being a little more lenient than it necessarily has to be. What matters with this first mission is not that the player has to execute everything perfectly. It's sort of like a room for them to grow into what Hydra is going to expect of them, for them to get a feeling of like what the campaign is going to be about. But in this case, for the Zerg mission, you're already expected to have played the first Rebel Yell campaign, and so we're throwing stuff that's a little bit more advanced at you. You got access to tier 2 tech, besides you have tier 1 upgrades, but you know, you can get Spire and Lair and Mutas, and your allies can too. And then your enemies can use siege tanks and dropships and wraiths, and your Protoss buddies down here can use Reavers and Dragoons and stuff. So, like, you're going to be seeing a fair bit of activity from these guys in ways that maybe would you would not necessarily expect from like a first mission of a normal production. But that's because you've already ostensibly played the Rebel Yell campaign of Hydra, so you sort of know what's going on. That's another reason why I want to make sure I'm releasing these globally, like publicating these, besides like some test versions or whatever, for like when they're all three of them are one main big thing, right? Like, for example, I don't want to make it so that I'm releasing the Zerg campaign in its 161 version without re-releasing Hydra Rebel Yell as 161, because that needs to be. They need all. I think all three of the first campaigns are going to be released together. This is my current idea. I might decide that that's not worthwhile or something, but it seems like it would be a good starting point. Does Zerg, aka Xenomorph, have mercenaries? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're all designed to be just monsters that kill stuff, you know? Listen, we're not talking about StarCraft 2 over here, okay? It would be one thing if, like, a Terran group or something has enslaved some Zerg and are selling them off to the highest bidder as, like, war machines or something, but, you know, like, biological war machines. Or if Protoss have mind-controlled them and are willing to trade them for money. But I don't think you would catch the Zerg themselves willingly saying, hey, I'll fight for you. Oh my god. It's probably some StarCraft 2 or book thing. Well, Blizzard, yeah, exactly. Listen. We don't need talking Zerg any more than we need mercenary Zerg. Just look at Varanus' campaign, dude. What was it? Resurgence? One of his campaigns we played recently where the Overlord birth emoji comes from. Where it was just a bunch of talking Zerg. I think it was Resurgence. So, I think we'll finish off the attack waves of Sienna before moving forward with Ultramarine here. And then technically, once this AI is in, assuming it compiles in PyAI, well, we'll actually be in a position where we're ready to test this map. Although I would need a volunteer if I were to do that. I don't think I'll necessarily be in that position yet, because I kind of want to add some decor and stuff. I want to eventually write the single-player AI. But, yeah, we'll see what's up, man. Maybe we will. Who knows? Odds are it would just fucking crash. That would be my luck. Oh, that was the other thing. You know, axe this here. And, just making a mature chrysalis from the get-go, I think. Did I use the... What the fuck? What did I use the mature chrysalis for? What the fuck? This is like the mod for Inconsummate loaded in here because that's what has the tile set. I really should just make a separate one that just has the tile set. I think that's what I'm going to have to do because I have no idea what the fuck is going on. No, I would not like to save a diagnostic file. How hard is it to get into that language used for the AI? Not very at all. I mean, it's... See, the thing is, with a Blizzard script, like, here, I'll open up, like, the basic shit so you can take a look at what it normally looks like without all of the flowery new commands that we have. It's very, very basic. We pop open to the Brood War Terran 1. So this is the Dominion used in the first UAD mission. This is a Dominion script. Start campaign, don't even worry about this, for example. This is like a header that's completely deprecated because if the game mode is use map settings, which it is if you're running AI, unless it's a melee, obviously, then this is the script class is already set to campaign by default. So this is like Blizzard, this is like a failsafe, or Blizzard just forgot what the fuck they were doing. Hey, what's going on, Balethal? Then you've got, you know, start town. This is like header commands, default build on. So you need to like read up on what these do, sure. But build one command center 80. Again, this is priority 80. You just see these they build what the structure tells, you know, what it says it is, right? Max forces for defense. So this is like, that's again something you'd have to read up. But defense build. Oh, it's building 2 Marines. And there's even documentation for some of the stuff if you mouse over it. Although some of this is incomplete, but stuff for like the basic commands like defense build is pretty easy to take a look at. It's like, it's very readable. It's really not that difficult. You figure out how, you know, we just talked about 24 frames is 1 second, so you could like divide this by 24 to get the amount of seconds this waits, or something like that. Attack add 4 Marine. Wow, I wonder what that does, right? And then attack prepare is kind of self-explanatory, though it does a bunch of weird shit behind the scenes, which again you can read into yourself. Then you've got upgrade 1, Terran infantry armor 30. So you know this is upgrading level 1 of T infantry armor for, you know, at priority 30, and so on and so forth. You got attacks and upgrades mixed in because Blizzard is a fucking disaster. And then you've got a loop here, which is the final set of attacks that gets thrown at you, which is like 15 supply or something silly because Blizzard. But like that's it. I mean, it's very, very basic stuff. Like it's not complicated at all. For like to write basic scripts that, or like edit Blizzard scripts, it's not really that difficult. Like obviously that's a very simple script. There are slightly more complicated ones in the game by default, but if you just wanted to study those and see what they did and write your own that are similar, it would not take you very long. I write mine in Notepad++ because it's more convenient than trying to save them in PyAI, but you can do it however you want. This is just the quickest way that I found, the most efficient way that I found to make everything work. So what's going on with you, Balethal? Weren't you working on a campaign or something? Warcraft 3 campaign? We were just talking about AI in the last little bit of that Legends of Arcane stream. We were talking about like creeping and stuff, or you guys were. I was just flabbergasted. AI does, yeah, the compiler does check for errors. So if you fuck something up in the syntax, it'll tell you. Some of its errors can be ignored once you know what's going on, because it's not 100% clairvoyant with like the changes that you've made with your mod and some other stuff. But like for example, if you don't tell PyAI to load custom MPQs, it might not know that you've added an air weapon for something, and then say, hey, you've called for this unit, like a High Templar or a Zealot that you've made attack air. Oh, this unit doesn't have an air weapon, but you've called for it to defend against air units, like stuff like that. You can obviously just disregard if you've already taken the correct steps yourself. Oh yeah, I forgot that you were doing that. Imperator was talking to me about doing, well, he was not doing it in co-op version, he's just remaking them. And I was looking into doing that at some point too. I'll definitely have to do a Warcraft 3 modding stream at some point. Or it won't really be called a modding stream, but yes, it'll be a crying stream, as I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. Just so overwhelmed. You don't see his messages either? What the fuck? You might want to refresh your chat. Here, I'll show the chat again. Undertale? Question mark, question mark. I wouldn't be surprised, dude. We are all a simulation anyways. We are reflections of a simulated reality. Just ask Pat. Mr. Psychopath. Boom, boom, boom. I was wondering where my fucking map went, and I realized that SCM Chef fucking crashed again. Dude, I'm so tired of that. I'm too afraid of going back to the previous version, because every time I try to do that, it just corrupts. Well, not every time. I've had a lot of history with SEM Draft, like going back to a previous version of SEM Draft, or even upgrading to a new version of SEM Draft, and it just corrupting the map I'm working with. So that's kind of annoying. What's going on, Seth T? I haven't seen you in a while, dude. I can't speak English. Or say your name. The issue with Warcraft 3 spells is, manifold, dude. I would want to, like... See, the thing is, when I was looking at Warcraft 3 for, like, making the... Basically, like, Hydra, but in that, where you would have a co-op version of the just classic campaigns, it was such a massive undertaking. Like, I would be redoing every map from scratch. I would be adding a whole lot of stuff, redoing all of the tech trees, redoing every item, like aggressively cutting items I didn't feel were useful, and adding in a whole bunch of new ones. And probably the same for spells and units and everything. It would all be different. It's like a different game. I'd be like redoing just the core ways of how shit even works. It's really wild. Oh yeah, that's what I was. I closed it myself. I mean, it did crash, but I closed it myself. I was gonna go and make a standalone tile set MPQ for this. So I guess let's just copy over the framework MPQ. And we will... This has those fucked minerals though, doesn't it? Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, cool. Alright. What was I gonna do? Yeah, the pacing is like a really big issue with that game. The other thing that this had was the custom minimap stuff. So we'll do that. Alright, dude. Now we don't have weird shit like hunter-killers being different colors. Let's delete that and place a mature chrysalis. There it is, dude. I don't remember what player this is. 3. It's always gotta be 3. So I'll probably make it so that that just spawns creep, I guess. I think this is it. That's all we need, right? Okay, cool. Why didn't they at least slightly edit hero / special units? You mean for Brood War? I don't know. It would have really opened up the door for modders to do more shit with more graphic IDs and stuff. I'm gonna save this as... because lazy. ALFL's got the answer. Pack it up, boys. Alright. I don't want to look at this right now because I'll fall down a rabbit hole of setting a bunch of upgrades up and stuff. I don't mind there being a different player color for the heroes, but I do agree that some of them should have looked different. Like if you don't, so for the example is like if you don't make a custom player color for hunter killers, then there's no visual difference between them and regular Hydralisks. So gameplay readability is fucked. But obviously that never really happens. You're never really facing hero units in the default campaign, I don't think. And at least not in a case where you're up against the same hero unit. Or like the normal variant of that, right? And they're not a different player color. So. Yeah, it could be, I'm glad that they didn't do that because I don't really like the idea that you just evolve your unit to be better at, like, in every way. Like, Lurkers aren't better than Hydras at attacking air, you know what I mean? Like, they just have a different combat role, and that's what I think it should be. That's going to be one of the really big challenges for Hydra's Zerg tech tree, is, like, I want to make it so that it's built into the morph idea, right? You're morphing units between themselves. I kind of want to have a similar-ish, like, a similar gameplay thematic or whatever, like a function for all of the races, but it's done in a different way that feels like it reinforces the racial, like the fantasy of playing as that race. For example, Terrans are going to be able to research, essentially, the production of a different unit type. So they'll be able to say, I'm going to research this upgrade at my academy or engineering bay or whatever it is, maybe the barracks itself. I'm going to basically, like, it won't be like researching the tech of the unit. It'll just be like specialize it, like choosing to build that unit type. And so you'll have the option to build firebats or a different kind of close range unit that's meant to soak up damage in some cases and whatever else. And so you'll have that. You'll have the you'll have the idea that you have this retrofitting or whatever it is. I'm not really sure exactly what the fantasy is going to be for that. But the Terrans are basically going to be able to decide which kind of unit they want to field, and they will be able to swap back and forth as they so choose. For Zerg, you're going to be able to evolve each individual unit into a different kind if you want. And so, for example, Zerglings will be able to morph into one or two different other kinds of Zerglings, including the base unit. So the base unit will do its current combat role, but then there will be like a different unit that maybe moves slower, but has a different kind of gameplay associated with it. And then there will be a unit that maybe moves faster, but is more frail or something. I mean, I'd like to do something a bit more interesting than that, so we'll see. Maybe I can only have 2 variants of each unit. That's quite a lot. But you already have like the Hydralisk into the Lurker, and I kind of want to like accentuate that, where you're not actually going to have Lurkers in this because it's not Brood War. Maybe I will decide to include them anyways. But the Zergling morph will augment like melee play in Zerg, like Zerg play differently. So maybe it'll be like a situation where you would want to morph some units into those versions. Maybe you can't morph them back, unlike the Terrans can decide to morph, you know, their barracks into a, you know, a different structure or whatever if they want to. It's not really a morphing into a different structure, but allowing yourself to selectively have the tech. For Protoss, I plan on making it so that you're actually augmenting you're like specializing your production structures. So it'll be a little bit different. It'll be, I guess, similar to the Terrans, but I'm going to find a way to make it so that it's not just a carbon copy, because the Zerg are very different. I think I like the idea that you're morphing individual units permanently, and that they can't morph back. I was originally against that idea. I thought that I wanted to make it so that you could morph freely between the two. But, I see clearly now. My mistake. I do wonder why there is only the Hunter-Killer custom portrait, though. That is very strange. Oh yeah, Sienna attacks. Ooh. Holy shit, what a rabbit hole we fell down. So I'm thinking we've got a couple of attacks here. Let me compare this to the... How many attacks do we have? So we have like 11 attacks, I think, before the loop. We'll probably try to do a little bit less. Sienna's going to have harder hitting attacks, but that are a bit fewer and farther in between. Just more units overall. And he's also going to be the one that's mostly occupied with the Protoss. I have to wonder how exactly this is going to work out. Balancing is so impossible for me to figure out. There's just so many attacks from so many different AI that it's like really hard for me to remember all of the different things that are happening at the same time. I should figure out a way to like remind myself roughly what time things are, like comment in the approximate times of stuff. But it gets even more squirrely if you're having like random waits between attacks. Not that I think that's a bad thing. Sort of goes back to what I was talking about with Imperator earlier about small waits between buildings being set up. Sort of adding to the idea that you're fighting against and alongside something that actually is real instead of very artificial. I think this is probably... This can probably be the final attack that rings in the loop. And we can move on to the Protoss. Well, you picked the right time to leave, man. I'll see you around. Thanks for hanging out. What's going on, DF? VF? How are your frog emojis doing? Just eating. The ha ha ha, let's go. You eat the frogs, yes? For You Must Survive 2, you should have a French character that I can voice as a Russian man. You can just say, no, he's French. What are you talking about? I gotta get all these emoji ported over, man. Actually, I wonder if I'm even allowed that yet. Break our anime, dude. Holy shit. Dude, that sounds like Commander Kane. His voice was pretty amazing, actually. What is the defined max for Marines for this guy? 28 max. Okay. Alright. So these guys are pretty much set, I think. Oof. What a miss. Is that a comment from Warcraft 3? Nice. Solid work. Because interacting with your AI enemies is like a cardinal sin. It's colonial or something. Oh wait, no, it's always one Goliath for these guys. They only have one factory. It's colon. Where'd sphincter juice even come from anyway? This has been a long album, dude. Not necessarily a bad one, but I've felt the I felt this experience. Just a random word. I don't know about spooky per se. Definitely disgusting. I'm gonna try something real quick. Let me know if the stream starts to snap out of quality or something, you know? there's a sudden drop in quality, let me know. Anything? You still the same? No changes here? Nice. That's what I like hearing. Man, I concluded 2 disgusting video productions this yesterday, actually, with Undertale and the other one. Let me tell you. It's very sad. Just doing some quick, simple shit here in the other monitor. One sec. I thought this game had made you guys lose your fucking marbles for chasing Necron away just for an avatar. I didn't know there was more drama behind the scenes. Oh. Yeah. I sort of already discussed that on in the server earlier. Presumably you saw that. I thought you were around, I mean, you were online during the whole shit show on the 6th, I believe. I mean, it was a while. It was like 3 weeks ago. So, I don't really remember much of it. There's not really much to say, man. Like, it's really my only regret about the whole situation, but I mean, there's obviously like shit I know I could have handled better, just like the whole Jay Marino nonsense. But my only regret about that is just that it's going to impact custom content to some degree. The Necron is one of the few people in the scene that actually gives a shit about what he's doing to any degree. And even though I disagree with a lot of the design decisions that he makes, or the principles or his process, right, like what he values in a mission is different than what I value in a mission. But that's not like the source of our issues, though. It's not. It has nothing to do with StarCraft content, as far as I can tell, or even really video content. It's just like my behavior regarding somebody he knows, and I guess my behavior towards him in the past as well. But it's really unfortunate that the private discussion or dispute or whatever, like this disagreement that he had with me privately, that he didn't actually bring to me privately, ends up impacting custom content. That's the only regret I have, that is going to live a long and illustrious life. You know what I mean? The only regret that's going to be lasting. So I hope he continues to make content, and that's why I made sure to tell people, like Ultralisks, for example, and some other people who were like testing his content. I made sure to let people know that, hey, you know, you can still find him in other places. I encourage you to message him directly, look on the Started forums or whatever. And for what it's worth, his stuff is still in the what's it called? Not the manifesto, the suppository. So I don't know if I'll take that out. I'll probably leave that in there, but that's the main deal, though. That's like the long and short of it. Is that it's gonna. Holy shit. I just looked at all the reactions that Chalks put on the fucking UED commander message. Holy moly. There's a lot of clocks, guys. A lot of cheese going around. But, yeah. I think, listen, the stuff that he was saying, like, the way that he was phrasing it, would make him make it sound like he actually did think I was capable of just killing people because of whatever the fuck he said. He's like, I'll just push people off rooftops. Like, he says stuff, I specifically asked him, like, this isn't just hyperbole, right? Like, you actually believe this stuff? And he said, yeah. And the other stuff that he threw at me in that whole exchange was so ridiculous. It's like, if you really believe that, like, I don't care how much I'm interested in, like, sticking around for other bits of the community. If I think that the person who's running a server or any community is capable of that kind of shit, and all of the other stuff that I then say in this really long tirade, then I'm not going to stick around in the community. I'm just going to find the people who I actually give a shit about, who will help me out, right? Who I think are assets to me, and who I like as people and who I associate with. I'll just find them on other servers. I'll add them on Discord and communicate with them that way. I'll make my own fucking server and invite them specifically to it. Whatever, you know? Like, I'll find a way to make do without the connections that this potential serial murderer, psychopath, is capable of, you know, and I don't need that kind of shit in my life. Like, that would be my reaction if I really thought what he purports to really think, you know? That was another thing that was really puzzling.
But we are all right. We might find a way along the valley to night and day. A destination, I see where it is. Some people not known, take the style of plan. Yeah.
I don't want to make the whole stream about that. So instead I'll make it about fucking SCM drive crashing! God damn it! Why does that happen all the time, dude? We'll close it out and reopen it, so that's the most recent document. Jesus Christ. Alright. Now we're moving on to the Protoss here. We've done the defense, we've done the... I think we need to do upgrades now, right? And then the attacks, obviously. Oh, we have to do expansions as well. I don't know when the expansions would go down for this one. Yeah, well, DF, that was like a revelation that I had, actually, when that whole shit was going down. Dynamo was talking about how, you know, most people are just here for content. I'm like, that's true. That's why, like, I realized, oh, I shouldn't worry about this at all. Like, I worry about it in the way that it affects my relationship with people, or like social relationship or whatever. But people are here for content. They're here because they like the videos that I make, the Brood War stuff that we all make. You know, they want to take part in the Mapcraft streams and all this other stuff. Like, they're here for content. They're here because this is stuff that entertains them or provides them with some happiness somehow. You know, some satisfaction. Like, that's why they're here. They're not here for drama. I'm glad that they're not here for drama, because that would be a very toxic fucking relationship with my audience if that were the case, right? So, like, that's... I realized, like, I should just fucking make content. What am I worrying about this for? And in the end, that's why I decided to kick Necron in the first place, because even after that revelation, I was still realizing that it was affecting my output. To, like, see that he was just not interested in responding to any of that. But whatever, I had to talk. Oh yeah, you like that? Here, I'll zoom in on it. This is your inspiration, dude. This is your motivation. Let's turn off units, too. Let's just take a look at that, baby. Mwah. This is your motivation to make something reasonable. You want to see something that's even worse? You want to see something that's even worse? I got something that's even worse. Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. It's probably in my one-offs. No, actually, this is not it. Frauda 1 small. Hold on. No, it's even worse than that. Is this the right tile set? It opened, so... Oh, fuck! I got pranked. Hold on. It's not the right profile. Or not the right MPQ. So we'll do one-shots, fraud editor. There you go. Check me out on Instagram, dude. Take a look. This is more inspiration for you, buddy. I'm gonna have to use that. I'm gonna have to fuck that palette even worse than it already is. To backport it into structure or into jungle from Ashworld, from Badlands. And use that if you don't make me a real ramp, dude. What can I do? The galaxy depends on it. That ramp is the key to the end of all things. The perspective is certainly beyond redemption, but the SCR ramps just might make my intestines hurt, so... Buffering? Uh-oh, are we buffering, guys? Are we having internet issues? Not me. I don't know. Everybody give Raw Flesh a wave. A calendar, too. I can't believe we calendared Jay Barino into dumb bitching CR12, dude. That's still insane to me. That is still a fucking simulation. That's real. That really happened, man. Wow. Dumb bitching? Yeah, he dumb bitched him. That's when you ban somebody and then join another server just to call somebody else a dumb bitch. And then leave. Yeah. Somebody pinned that. That's insanity. It really happened though. That's a real thing that occurred in real life. Alright, what am I expanding? Maybe we'll do... Example create script. So I forget what the location number is over here. 28. And then the town is 12. Right? Cool. And then we'll say expansion. It'll just be natural. Oh yeah, instead of... This should actually be... How did I do this for these guys? We're at a 10 now, right? Or is this... This is 9, I think. So 9. Nexus. Set. That is English, dude. That's the new language of the people. Newspeak. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell them to build a geyser at their main. Oops. There you go. Man, that don't build gas command is really nice. Tells them to not just immediately build geysers in area towns and weird shit. So what are we looking at now? Calendard is a real word? What does that even mean? Dude, you've been on one of those binges of, what's it called? Went on dictionary.com and just found the word simulation and it's an image of a crow or something. We calendared Jay Marino. Is this fucking video done editing yet? Don't ever try to edit something in the YouTube editor. It takes literally like 10 years. It's finally done. Public. Yeah, that's fine. Oh, thanks. I had no idea. Well, that Undertale video is not public anyways. So we'll do... Oh, did I ever do the, yeah, I did. Okay. Alright, I got really confused for a second. What? Does anybody here actually use a calendar, like, non-ironically? I'm not talking about an emoji. I actually use a calendar, like, basically every day. I write down a bunch of stuff that I've got planned, and then if anything silly happens, I also write it down. Like, today I had 3 things on my calendar, on my agenda, and they were, like, the 2 streams that well, I'm doing one of them now. I did Legends of Arcane earlier, and audio work for the video series. I sort of talked about this in that PowerPoint that I did a while ago, where I was going over all of the tools that I use and stuff, and like I don't remember if I went into detail, but I record like a bunch of logs all the time, where I'll like after the end of a day or whatever, I'll say like, all right, this is what I did today. This is what I, like this is how I feel about what I did today, or I could have done this better, or I did this really well, or something like that, like for commentary of a video, or work, like what I have left to do with a map or something like that. It really helps me plan my day, and plan my week, just plan my life in general, man. And also, it stops you from getting lost in like feeling like a day is worthless or a day was empty, because like. But before I've been doing this for like a year now, but before I did this, I remember distinctly feeling like day-to-day stuff, like I couldn't really remember what I did a certain day, and I didn't feel like each individual day was impactful unless I could immediately remember something that happened in it. And so it might just be a psychological trick. In fact, it probably is a psychological trick as opposed to being something that's actually happening that's different, but the mindset that you get into when you've documented a bunch of stuff is that you remember stuff better because you've spoken about it or written it down or whatever, and it makes you feel like you actually it makes you make sure that you are honest with yourself about how much work you did and how much stuff happened and whether or not a day was actually as good as it could have been or whatever, like. And I like recording it because I can listen back to it at any speed I want to, basically, but I can also like feel the emotion in a voice or whatever. Like if I'm really pissed off or if I'm really happy or something like that, like it helps me gauge my state of mind. Whereas it's a little bit more difficult to do if you're just like writing something down. You can still sort of read into it, but it's less immediately apparent. Well, my life isn't really that eventful either. My calendar is just like, this stream happened, this stream happened, this stream happened. That's it, man. Alright, what was I? Weight build 1 pylon. Alright, the script is done. One thing I have noticed is that I probably talked about this so many times, but it bears repeating. Recording or streaming while you're working is like a really good way to make sure that you're staying on track. Like it doesn't look like it because I've been like alt-tabbing all the fucking time and like doing multiple things. But if I wasn't streaming right now, I would be even less focused. And then there are times where I am focused and like the entirety of a 5-hour stream, or the vast majority of it, is me like actually working for those 5 hours and stuff. Like it's pretty fucking cool to have the ability to just stream to people and interact with them and like sort of hang out casually while working. I'm really grateful for you homos who hang out and kiss me. Without you, I would be kissless. Ah, the Homo Thrower just came in. Dude, Homo Thrower is like... That's like a... That would be like I guess a Muslim name or something? Like a Muslim internet handle? If the Hoop Thrower was born in Syria and was a conservative Muslim, his username would be the Homo Thrower. I mean, Poop Thrower is... It is, I guess, more funny. But it's not as high class as a Muslim joke. It even rhymes. I'm sure he's never heard Poop Thrower before, actually. I'm sure this is like the first time he's heard. So what's going on, Hoop Thrower? How you doing? Came in just in time for me to kiss you. Got T for Tony as your profile picture. You're looking good. Of course. 24. So it's 7. Haha, Poop Thrower got him! Fucking annihilated, dude! Actually get a better name next time, moron. Yeah, that's exactly what they say, dude. It's just instant win. What can you even say in the face of such a diss? Besides screaming, "Dick suck!" at the top of your lungs. So not at all the way that I do. This map might actually be too small for all the stuff that I have in it. This might feel really overcrowded. So I guess we'll have to see. So what are you up to these days, Poop Thrower? Oh, cool. Sounds like it was exciting, or at least enjoyable. Hope you had fun. It's always nice when you get a surprise one of those. I don't even know if Reaver Guards work. Pretty sure they just bug out. They just sit there in the starting area of their ship. Very unfortunate. Alright, well, we're in a position where I don't actually think I'll be able to... I don't think I have enough time to finish before I have to go. So I won't be able to do any gameplay tests in this particular stream. I was talking earlier about that. But maybe being able to start nice and early. But that does not appear to be the case. Not quite today. But the next stream... I'm not quite done yet anyways. I still have to do some work on the Protoss. But when I do the next stream, whenever that is, could be tomorrow, could be some other time, we should be in a position where the AI is mostly complete, besides the single-player AI, which I'm not sure when I'm going to tackle that. So at that point, we can just start working on like general mod stuff, like having a building carapace, hooking that up. That's very trivial. And maybe starting to look into the Zerg tech tree and like what the setup for that is going to be. I'm going to have to talk with iQuare about how the AI is going to handle that and any plugin changes, GPTP changes he's volunteered to do, so we'll see if he's still interested in doing that. So I guess we'll just start working on the regions for the Protoss. I guess we'll do the idle stuff first. Let's take a look at the... Or maybe I didn't do these? Actually, still have to do these. I know I did these at some point. Thankfully, I can copy-paste most of the stuff and then just fill out the attack. Specific things. Do that. That's fine. Okay. That was pretty easy, thankfully. Whoa, what a fucking random segue. Maybe I just haven't been paying attention to the music, but we are in a different dimension now. So nice to be able to copy paste all this shit. Obviously I have to clean these out though. Alright, now we're good to just start selecting regions. It's another thing that's kind of risky to do this early, but I don't really see much of a way around that. Since the regions can just they can get changed very dramatically from doodad placement. I almost feel like I want to change some of this terrain around, but it's really difficult to do without getting them in range of photon cannons. Maybe I will, though. We'll see how the gameplay tests fare. Almost pathologically incapable of keeping a calendar. Incapable. Yeah, I don't really like plan ahead too far. I mean, you guys have seen when I try to plan like a stream, like entire weeks of stream, like scheduled streams, and I'm like, you know, shit just comes up out of nowhere sometimes, and other times it's just impossible for me to be able to figure anything out. Like I'll sleep in or something silly. You piece of shit. Oh wait. Well, glad that happened. What do you mean keeping with compromises? Oh. You mean promises. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, cool. I only have one more video to upload. I gotta watch them all and fucking timestamp. That's the miserable part. What was that? That was Protoss main. I actually don't think we need target P2 at all, right? Seems kind of pointless. Okay. All right. All right, cool. We got that done, dude. All we need to do now is write the tax for the Ultramarine Protoss, and then we are in a position where the single player AI has to be done. All the mod work has to be done for like the units and stuff, but the AI work for two-player mode at least is taken care of. So we are on the cusp here, home stretch. But I think if I go any further with this, I might burn myself out, even though I haven't really been streaming for too long, only 2 hours. I think I'm gonna just take a break here at this stage. But like I said earlier, when Hoopdor came in and I gave him a kiss as soon as he showed up, I do appreciate you guys. I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out and just sort of being here, interested in the project, working hard to make something that's satisfying not only for me but also for all you guys that you guys will be interested in. So hopefully I'll have something playable to demo at some point soon. I don't know if the next modding stream will be tomorrow or if it'll be the 27th, Tuesday, if it'll be some other day. But you'll see more of Hydra soon. You'll also see more of other things soonish. And stay tuned for more content, I guess. Calendar in the chat, dude. Calendar in the chat. Make sure to calendar me, just like you calendared Jay Wilson. Very nice.